Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review, or MCR, depending on how you feel this morning. It's a beautiful January 28th, and you might notice we got a special guest. Doug McLean is here to join us and talk about all sorts of fun stuff today. But first, as usual, how's it going today, Michael?
It's going good. Excited to be back in the reign of things. And the weather is actually heating up here, fortunately for us. It's 42 degrees. I know some folks don't like me talk too much about weather, but just want to give an update because it was freezing during that. When I was out, it was around 31 degrees at night, which is cold for Arizona. But excited for the heat to be back and excited to bring back with the heat, Mr. Doug, who has some amazing things to talk about. This will be a two-part series, so stay tuned for the second part. We split this into two parts so that people can have a fresh look at the beginning side, because we've always gotten so deep in the weeds where it's confusing. So we don't want to have any squirrely eyes. We want to have people jump in right at the get-go. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure, well, we'll say that on the next one, because make sure to go and see the first one. This is the first one. And if you want to see the advanced stuff, we'll go to the second one. But what else, Jason? Is there any updates?
No updates that I've seen, so pretty easy on our part. It is the first of the year, or wrapping up. This is our last episode for January, but this month there's been a couple things. You may have noticed some Bluebeam Labs invites to go check out 21.4 beta. If you're interested in that, it does tease some of the new features, which I won't talk about today. Maybe I'll bring them up next week. But if you have applied to be on Bluebeam Labs and you have the time, it might be worth going to check that out. But today, let's focus on getting deep into the weeds, or starting to. We're going to show us where the weeds are. There we go. Doug's going to show us where the weeds are. And we're going to take a step away from Bluebeam and move into a different platform and do some different things. So this is going to be quite interesting. I'm going to sit back here and buckle up and try to stay focused, because a lot of this is way over my head. That's why we brought in the smart folks. So,
Jason, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Once you get into it, it's super, super simple. It really, really is. Okay. So, it's been brought up here. So morning, everybody, and welcome back. Kind of the differences between Quantity Link and using something called Power Query in Excel. One of the reasons why I prefer to use it, and guys like Vince prefers to use it, is Quantity Link has some limitations. One, it's hard to get set up, especially if you're using spaces or anything like that. You always leave a link sheet, and one of the biggest things is that Quantity Link will only ever bring in measurements and their units. That's all it will bring in. So if you ever want to get any other data out, there's really no way to do that and to get it into Excel. So when you want to analyze it, right? So, and plus, doing stuff in Excel can be clunky. As good as Excel is, Power Query's better. So it just allows for a little bit of better steps.
Yeah,
go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, let me add for some of the newer folks. For those people that don't know, Quantity Link is the ability to link dynamic data into Excel. However, you need complete the highest tier review in order to get access to that. But it's only measurement data. So like Doug was saying, measurement data. But for you folks that didn't know, Quantity Link is their way of getting data dynamically into Excel one way. And Doug is elaborating the fact that it's limited, and that's not what you need. For what type of workflow are you doing, Doug?
Correct. Yeah, my workflow is very dynamic. Our general contractors generally require us to break down bids by space and by room level, and they just want that a little bit. They want a little bit more granularity to it. So I did a little work on the weekend, and I set this up, and we've probably all seen this sheet many, many times that you've got going on here. And you can see I've preset some spaces here. So I've got a level space, and I did a bunch of rooms up. Okay, I just did this in the interest of time. So I just made a few markups here, and I also made, yes, you're actually seeing my legit tools here. So you can see we keep a group of tools here that are all network shared, and a few of them are nicely scaled. So I share this with two other guys on my team, and so we all have the same markups, which is kind of a really cool way to do that. So I made a couple of quick custom tool chests for today with some basic flooring callouts that don't really matter what they are. Okay. So I also made one custom column in here where I gave it a product ID column. So that is something that I also did. Now I'm going to show you why I did that a little bit later, but so we can do something with another table in Excel. The very, very first thing you're going to need to do is and just to show you something else here too, before I get into that, I put a couple of our other tools out here. So I have a call out that all of our estimators use, and I have a big note here, and this is just a generic copy, and we can edit this. So, but it's still there, and it's a set tool with its own subject and everything else. So we can deal with
What's
that.
a note for?
Whenever we just want to make a note for whatever, like we're going to say, we've added an extra 25% to this for whatever reason. Say it just really doesn't matter. It's just a way that we can leave a note, because the type of projects that we do here, we're not going to even see this for 6 months to a year. So when you go back to those notes later, you go back to those drawings 6 months later, and you go, what did I do here? Oh, that's what I did here. So
so it's like a note. It's an actual note. Yeah.
It is. So so if I were to just do this and just whatever it happens to be, right? So you don't have to worry about it. And yeah, I had a little fun with it when I created it, and added a line to the outside, made it look like a drop shadow, so it kind of looks cool. But
looks really good.
Okay, so one of the most important things you can do with Power Query is give yourself some consistency, especially when you're first starting out. So it's really important to export a proper CSV file, and by a batch config file. So, to do that, if you're not familiar with it, I prefer doing mine up here, but you can do it from here, right? So we're going to export a CSV summary. I just want it from the current page. Okay. So it's a CSV. We're going to fix this a little bit. These columns here are important as well. So you just want your markups. You don't need your totals. You don't need your markups and totals. Your column headers you want. The ID columns that's kind of an interesting column, and I prefer to use it, and I'm going to leave it alone because of other processes that I have. I don't want to turn it off and forget to turn it back on. You want to include your measurement units and your format, and you want to open this file after creation. The other thing you want to do is just double check your columns. Make sure you've got the right columns that you want to export. They're there. And also, you can filter these columns as well. So if I just want to filter this by this particular space, I can. But in this case, I'm not going to. Okay. You can also have it show up by space, and then, I want to arrange it by subject first and then space or whatever. So you can really play with this however you want to. Get it right. That's the best thing I can say. The next thing
before you want to do. Over?
What's that?
Get it right before you're going over.
Yeah, get it right before you start doing the Power Query, because, like I say, Power Query loves consistency, and that is the best thing that you can do for it. So you want to select a folder where you're going to put it, select your folder, and save that configuration. Okay? Just so you can reuse it later. When you want to reuse it, save it. Then you don't have to worry about touching anything else again. Make sure this is good, and I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to bring this over my Excel sheet over here, and this is what you get. So you get this full report, okay? There's a trick if you ever want to expand all your columns at once. Highlight them all, put on one column divider, and double click, and they'll all widen up for you. So you see a bunch of stuff here. This is that ID column. So Review will actually generate a random alphanumeric code for you that is unique to each markup, which can really come in handy later. And I actually use it in 2 of our other standard queries for matching later. So it's actually a really cool thing, but we're going to leave it in here. So you kind of see how this is a bit of a mess, and this is hard to work with, right? And if this was in Quantity Link, I'd have to set up each one of these individual spaces and to set this and what I want here, right? So if I was actually going to, I'm going to just do this in Excel for quickly. If I was going to do this in Excel, I had to bring this over into a full sheet. To work with this a little bit and to try and get what we want here, you have to do certain things, and it can be a little bit clunky. I mean, number one, like I was saying, you have, oh, I didn't grab my headers. Hang on. That's what I didn't grab. You can see if you're copying and pasting, that's a manual process, and you really don't want to do that. Now, in a lot of cases here, if this was Excel, there's stuff here you don't really want. Like, okay, we really don't, sorry, I use keyboard shortcuts, so if you see me do something, it's because I'm using a keyboard. I'll try and remember to do this manually, so you can delete that. We probably really don't need this information here because we have it in the measurements column, right? We also don't need that, and we don't need that. That's not going to work. So we can just do the exact same thing and get that. So now all those steps that we've done manually, that this is what you have to do every time you do this. Okay. Now let's just say we want to bring in the cost per unit on this. Okay. We have to go get this data. So we have to do a lookup formula. You've probably heard in Excel a VLOOKUP or an XLOOKUP formula. We have to do that here. So what we're going to do is, to do that, we're going to do this. We're going to look up this value. And over here on this data sheet, I'm going to look up in this column. Oops, that's not right. That's better. In this column, and I want to return this column. You see, now it'll bring that in automatically for you, and I can double click and send that down. Right? The other thing we can do real quickly, if you wanted to stop doing that, we can just convert this to a table, and then it'll work a little bit faster. Now, okay, I'm going to just tell you something. I have a plugin here that's going to do this a little bit differently than what you will see, but you can do the exact same thing. So I'm going to select any cell in here, and I'm going to go Control T, and I'm going to turn it into a table, and I'm going to just name it. I'm just going to name it data. So now it becomes a table. So all these steps that we've done, this is the steps that you're going to have to do every time you export this in Excel. Okay? Anybody got any? This is data sheet also from Bluebeam. What do you mean
data,
there?
the data exported out originally was from Bluebeam. Yeah.
Yep, it was.
but you don't have to do this every single time, because future forecasting, like foreshadowing, forecasting, um, this will have been, you're just uploading the data, right? But you have to, if you're starting new, you have to do this to start out to get the.
You have to export the data via CSV file every time. Okay, that's absolutely important that you have to do. There's no other way to do it. You can do this from a PDF report as well if you do have Core. The start is a little bit different, but the rest of it is exactly the same. It's just the source that you want to go to. So rather than doing this every time, in Excel, it's kind of hidden, but it's a tool that's in Excel. It's included with Office 365. If you need to wash your data in any way, shape, or form, you're going to want to learn this tool. It's called Power Query, and we're going to get into it right now. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to go to the Data tab. We're going to go Get Data from File from Text CSV, because that's what you export. If it's a PDF, you go here. That's the only difference to what I'm going to tell you today. That's really the only difference. So it's from Text CSV. You can also do it from here.
What's from PDF?
So it's just a data store. So Power Query, as you can see here, I can get the data from different sources. I can go from a file, from a folder, from the database, from quite a lot of sources anyway. But from a PDF, so if you export like a PDF table, like a PDF report in Review, it works. The actual reports are pretty decent. Instead of a CSV file, if it's a PDF, it works.
So it's like
table.
the PDF report. Okay, I get
Correct.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Or if there's a table on a PDF, like a door schedule or a finish schedule or something, it will actually grab that table and you can do that. But we'll deal with that next week. Okay, so we're going to go to the text CSV file, and it's going to take a second, and it's going to open up the window, and I'm going to navigate to where I put this, and it is going to be right there. That's going to come in. It's going to take a second to connect, and I'm going to get this window. Okay, so Power Query does this, and the first thing I want to do is hit Transform Data. Now, this window opens up. Now, this is the Power Query editor. So here you go. So on this side over here, you're going to have your list of queries. We're only going to have a couple over here in a second. Okay. And over here is all the steps that we're going to have. Now, you notice Power Query's brought in the source, and it gives you the line up here. So this is where it's stored. We can actually change that to make this a lot more dynamic. It will automatically promote the headers for you, right? Which is fine, is what we want. And it'll automatically do what we call a change type step. So in data, a type is important. So it didn't get some of these right, as a matter. It usually does, but it didn't on this case. So this is text. This is text. This is obviously a whole number, and it didn't because the coding here is for text. Well, actually, because I'm on the wrong step. There we go. So you see it's a number. So you see how it brings it in as a number. This is text. Okay? So let's just say, okay, the first thing we did before is we got rid of a few columns. So let's get that. You can get rid of multiple columns. I'm going to turn that off because you don't need to, that's getting a little too advanced for everybody. So we're going to go there. If we want to select multiple columns, hold your control key down. Okay. I probably don't need the comments. I don't need that. I don't want that, or that. I'm going to just hover over here on one of the green ones and go remove columns. Now it's gone. Okay. I also don't really want these two items here. So I can filter this. Now, you do notice it starts with the same thing. So what we can actually do is we can go here, and I'm going to go here, text filters begins with, and it's going to pop up. Just type that in. Oop. I made a mistake there. Okay, so I didn't want it to start with, and so I just quickly fixed it. So that not will take it out. So I don't want that there. Okay, so now we've got this cleaned up. But now we're going to do some other fun stuff here. So right now I've got to load this table here. You're going to go close and load 2. And for the moment, I only want to create a connection with this. So it's not going to load this out to a sheet just yet. Okay, so it pops up here as a connection only. On this sheet here, I have a couple of other tables. And on this one, I want to bring this in and load this as a connection only. So I'm going to go get data from, actually, I can just do it right from here. Get data from table/range. I'm going to bring that in. And you see it comes in nice and it comes in loaded. And I'm going to do this quickly as make this as a connection only as well. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the Power Query Editor. I have it here on my Quick Access toolbar. If you like this, you just want to come over here, right-click and click Edit. Okay, so what we want to do is bring in that. So on here, you notice we have this product ID column. We want to bring in the waste percentage and the cost per unit for each item. So the way we do that, we're on the Home tab, we're going to go Merge Queries. And I'm going to just do Merge Queries. Okay, so it's going to ask me for the one. I'm going to load the second column, and I want to match it on the product ID column. And we're going to do what's called a left outer join, and that's going to be your basic type of join. Those of you guys who do know some data science here, you're going to know what those types of joins are. There's 6 different types, but for the most part, you're always going to do a left outer. Okay, I'm going to click OK. And it brought in a new column here with a table. If I click out to the side, you can see what it's got. Now, really the only thing we want in this case is the waste percentage and the cost per unit. So we're going to click to expand. We're going to turn that off. We're going to do here. We're going to click that, and we're going to click that, and boom, that number's in for everything. So there you go. Any questions so far?
Looking good.
Okay.
Now, what's one of the main purposes, again, because as people are watching this, the data that you are getting out of review just isn't clean because you wanted an easy full export. You did filter some things.
I did.
But in order to organize the data in a representative fashion for you to actually do a quote, you needed to do this, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Correct. Now, here, this is another thing. So we got all that stuff. We're good to go, but we want to split this into 2 columns because this should be able to show later. Oh, what's all on level 2? But then let's break it down into per reading. So per room. So we're going to highlight it, and then on the you can do it on the Home tab or the Transpose tab. And click this split column, okay? And split column by delimiter. Now you notice we have, and Review puts this nice hyphen in there for you, which is really cool. Okay, so we're gonna hit the delimiter, and it's pretty good. It'll come up and choose this for you, but sometimes you have to type it in. You can do this, and we're gonna click OK, and all of a sudden it kicks it out for you as to, so here's this, and here's your level, your levels, and here's your room. I'm going to get rid of that change type step. And one of the few things I'm going to do that's up in the formula bar here is I am going to change these manually, because I don't like extra steps in my query, and now it will automatically do a change type step for me. So now I've got this broken down. So later on again, here's your level, here's your room, that's good. We can also do some math. So we need to calculate a waste percentage. Okay, so let's do an add column. We're going to do so I need to click this, an add column. We're going to use the standard, and we are going to, hang on, we're going to multiply those two columns together. So we did that. Now that gives us our waste. So we've got 20% waste. It's going to come up like that. So we're actually pretty good. Now again, this is in millimeters. One thing I should maybe do first off, let's do something first. Yeah. No, I like working in millimeters. I can convert it out later. Well, we could do the math here too to convert these to. Let's just delete this step. If you don't like something, you can delete this step. So let's do an add. I'm going to do a custom column here, and I'm going to do. So I'm going to write something here. If measurement unit equals millimeters, then then I want measurement divided by 304.8, else measurement. Oop. Then I put it in quotes. I didn't put it in quotes. There we go. There we go. So as you can see now, it's come in where I've got, okay, now I've converted this to lineal feet, just like that. And I can quickly just come up here and do type number.
How long did it take you to, because you're
learn this?
Well, so these delimiters and notations of formula equations, if you're new, because you know this, right? You're like,
Right.
if I type this here, I already know how to get that. How long do you have a cheat sheet, or how long did it take you to know all these easy formula based items?
Okay, I've been using this for 3 years, but really within the first couple weeks, you're going to have most of the functionality that's available in the UI, the user interface here, under control. So it's not going to be as difficult as you think it's going to be. It's actually quite simple. When you get into the weeds of editing some of the stuff that you're doing up here, that can take you a lot longer, and you're going to spend hours and hours and hours learning it. But once you learn it, you've got it, right? You really are going to take that. Okay.
Where would you go, since people can't call Doug on the cell phone? Hey,
okay,
I need this.
There are some great YouTube sites to learn this from. The best ones, if you're starting out, the best ones are going to be sites like Excel is Fun on YouTube. Mike Girvin is an old school Power Query guy. He's absolutely amazing. And Vince is right. You pick it up real fast. There's another one called Excel Plus with Leila Garani. She is excellent, absolutely amazing. Excel Campus with John Acampo. These are great starter Power Query.
Okay, tell me the first person.
Steps.
I'm going to start dropping these in here.
Yeah.
So he's the first person?
Excel is fun.
That's a person's thing, right? That's their name. At Excel is
Well,
fun. It's
Excel is that's his
1.06 million.
yeah, that's his website or his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Mike Gervin, he's Seattle based. He is one of the original guys to kick out with Power Query.
What's the name on YouTube?
Excel is fun.
That's him.
YouTube. That's the channel. Yeah. Excel Plus that Vince uses, and Layla is amazing. She
Excel
really is good.
Is the name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
AXEL.
2.77 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting up there. Jason shaking his head.
Yeah.
We're getting up there. Hey, I like the entry music. She definitely uses what's that music called that I use too? There's an add-in to Adobe Premiere Pro. Not Adobe, their PDF solution, their video editing software. So don't get me wrong. Yeah. They have some superior video editing software.
Oh, they do. They
Not
really do.
PDF.
No. And these guys, they will teach you the basics and to walk through the basics. And always say, learn the basics, walk before you can run, all this stuff that you really, really want to do. Okay? So now...
So just those two people. Did you say three?
Another one is Excel Campus. Those are the three starters that you're going to want to go to. Okay. And all of these guys, well, Mike isn't this year because of some weird glitch at Microsoft, but all of these guys are Excel MVPs. They do know what they're talking about. And they're do more than just Power Query. Mike has a great channel where he'll Excel magic tricks. I think he's up to something like 1875. So if you want to learn some really cool stuff that Excel can do, go see Mike.
Is Mike this Excel Campus? No, this is John.
No, he's Excel is fun.
Oh, Excel is fun. Okay.
Yeah.
So by priority, which one do you start at?
I would start with Excel is fun, but I mean, you're not going to go wrong with any one of them.
Yeah.
Right. Another real good one is what is Minda's site again? I can't remember what it is. My Online Training Hub. That's what it is.
Is that YouTube too?
It is YouTube.
How do you remember all these names? Which one?
I have. Well, I get newsletters. I'm subscribed to all of them. Minda's Australian. That's the Online Training Hub. She's Australian.
Online
again, really knows her stuff. And
Online Training Hub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally just said it's 2.7 million subscribers. It's pretty wild. Yep. Okay, so My Online Training Hub. Cool. Got that one. And then here's this one. They all say hi, welcome to my channel. I wonder, is that their default video? I get so annoyed. I used to do that too for my videos, and it just that's her like first drop video. Okay. I was like, they have like an intro video that shows predominantly on the page.
You're not going to go wrong with any one of those four. They will teach you the basics, and believe me, they know all the real cool stuff too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, AI Excel tools right here.
Right. Yeah.
And that was over a year ago.
Yeah. These are the guys that are going to teach you the basics. Some of the other guys that I watch now, they're a little more advanced, and I wouldn't put anybody starting out to them. You'll just get confused, and you're not going to know what to do here. So anyway, as we're working forward with this, I did a quick multiplication to bring my math back, and I'm just going to, now I wouldn't normally do this, but now I'm just going to do another quick one here where we're going to add these together. So now I have my waste and my what I have here. So I have this all the way here. I am going to very quickly, just for a little bit of to speed things up a little bit, get rid of 3 columns. Actually, I can get rid of 4 columns because I don't need this column anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to select them all and remove columns. Now, one thing here, if you did that in Excel, if you removed those reference columns, you would get an error in this column. Power Query doesn't work like that. So that's really good. It will always refer back to the previous step. So that's one of the other big differences between this and regular Excel. And now we're just going to do another quick multiplication. So we're going to select them both, and I want to add column. I could transform it, but again, we're just going to multiply this. So that's basically the waste percentage unit times the cost per unit. And we're going to quickly rename this as final total. And we're going to do that. Oops, I hit an extra key. Don't need that. And we can get rid of these right now, remove columns. And we're going to, we have them all done. So and we're going to change this. So I'm just going to quickly go change type. I'm going to make that currency, text. Should I have left the quantity in there? Probably should have. Where did I remove that one? I should have left that in there. I want to keep that. And I want to rename that and call it final quantity. That's fine. Do that. I'm going to put that in the right order. I'm going to fix my typo that we all make. And you see, if you make that typo and you try and move it around, it tells you there's an error. So now we're set up to what all this is. Okay, this is good. So now we're going to go close and load. Now, because I export it as a connection only, I have to do this. So I got my cell selected. I'm going to go here, right click, load to. I want to do this as a table on an existing sheet and go right there. And there we've got this exported. Okay, now again, I'm going to quickly make this, just set my data types in here. Excel's not real good at keeping this. Now, why? I'm going to do a quick save. Okay, doing this once
save
is
a lot.
great. I do. I've learned a long time to save a lot.
Like earlier when we were in Bluebeam, I don't know if anyone noticed that he did a quick save after he edited the note. Right after. It was just it was just second nature. Yeah.
It's muscle memory. Okay, so this is all great, well and good to do this. You're going to do this like this. But now what happens if we're going to update this? Okay, so we're going to go back to our sheet. Okay, and which I have, which one do I not have? Okay, this copy room. Okay, so this copy room, somebody comes, oh, dude, you missed the copy room. We need you to put, include the flooring in the copy room. Okay, so we're going to go over here. We're going to grab this, whatever that's going to be right here. Let's just carry this through to here. Okay. Okay, there we go. And maybe we want to put in this office. This office 249. So it's going to get carpeting in this office.
I just love how this PDF automatically aligns with the arc somehow.
You make that so effortless.
Sometimes it can be a little bit picky. So you see it's good there, and that's pretty good. And okay, so in this copy room, we want a rubber base in this copy room. And we're going to stop it in front of what I believe is the millwork here. So we don't really want it there.
So your trick is always skip. You're doing the end to end of the radiuses, and then you'll go back.
Yeah, exactly. So I go here, and you notice I've got a bit of a custom line style here, which is kind of nice, and I can convert that to arc, and it should be just about right. There we go. So I have created a couple of custom line styles, and in here, let's say we've got wood base 1 going into this office.
So we're not showing you right now how he set up these tool sets. There's plenty of videos on the channel that show this, but Doug has taken a ton of time, and I believe you said in the past some of your team too has helped you with them to create custom tool sets.
Right, our custom tool sets, yeah, we do, and they tie into our. Oh, I love it when it does that, don't you? And it goes the wrong way. Don't you just love it when that happens? They tie in with our estimating software. So they're built from our estimating software, so they match our estimating software. Okay, so I just added these 2 new rooms, okay? So now it's good and it's saved, and we're going to go back and we're going to export our CSV summary. Again, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the current page. Now I want to load the configuration that I saved beforehand. I'm going to do that. It's going to put this in the same position where I want it. Let's just double check, because sometimes it absolutely doesn't. And that's the folder I want it. And it should be named takeoff sample. No, it should be named, hang on, let me just double check and make sure. No,
So the file needs to be named the same when you're over saving the data so that it refreshes in Power Query, right?
Yeah. Just let me just double check something here. I just want to make sure I got the right way. I didn't overwrite it. It does say markup summary. Okay, so we're going to go back and we're going to do it that way. Okay, so batch summary, current page. It changed it on me, and I want to load the configuration. I want to go here, probably because I did that earlier. Pick desktop. Okay, and now I'm going to click export. Now I got a new markup summary that's out there. I'm just going to close it. This is the main beauty of Power Query. Once that is in, and just making sure that it's syncing, and it hasn't quite synced yet. So it takes a second because we work in the cloud now. So once it is got that, no, that one did say takeoff sample. Hopefully I grabbed the right one. It won't matter. Okay, and hit refresh, and now it's done. So it updated that just that quickly. Did you guys see that?
It needs to be named the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It does need to be named the same. That's what I was just double checking.
Yeah, because we're going back and forth, and people may have been confused, but I knew where you were going, but it needed to be named the exact same so that it's pulling the data.
Yeah, because that's where it's worked. So all you have to do is you can do it from the data ribbon and just hit here and go refresh. And all of it, because the data set's quite small, there's your new takeoff right there. And actually, yeah, it is wrong because this is in millimeters, and before it would have come in imperial. So yeah, but whatever. That's the beauty of what Power Query can do. And from here, because this is a nice, clean, tabular data set, if you want to insert a pivot table from this, you absolutely can. And I want to just drop it right here and go OK. I need to know how this is working by level, by room, and then by label. And then that is how much is in. It gave me a count. That's not what I want. There's my dollar amounts per room by level, how I want. If I only want to see this, what's only on level 2, I absolutely can. If I just want to see what is in a specific meeting, what is in a specific room, well, there you go. So that is the beauty of Power Query and how it can refresh itself so fast. Once you've done it, you've done it.
So it just takes time to set it up. Like you were saying earlier, every new one you'll set up that way. You could theoretically just use a template there because there's no template for pivot, is there?
There is sort of, okay, but you have to set it up. Now, to reuse it, and you notice here I have this right here. So this is a named. What? Oh, is it being? Oh, yeah, it is a named cell. It's just my screen is being weird. It went dark text. So, if you notice here, I have my code. And if I want to, I can load this in as a connection-only query. And then what I would do, and this is what we do actually, is in the source step, I substitute that query over here into this file path. So then that makes it dynamic. So that's how you can kind of play with that a little bit.
So you can essentially make a template if you wanted to, because you're going to change the source file location and have it pull new data. So there is a way to create more efficiency in an upstart of a query of data. You just have to kind of learn that.
Yeah, that's actually what we do in our daily processes. Is we have this set up to search for a specific file in a specific folder. We have the coding set up to do that. So it actually comes in very quickly. We get it. And then we did the refresh on a macro button. So it just comes in super, super quick.
Nice. So in theory, if you're trying to get more data, organize it in a fashion that's better to digest either from visual through Excel or because your next step would have been to grab that data and push it into a software that you use for live, what would you call it? Live market value data.
Yeah. So what we do is I have one that cleans the data, merges it, does a whole bunch of really fun things, and it prepares it for our estimating software. And then we have a macro that converts all those different files into CSV files so we can directly import it into our estimating software. And it has to go in room by room, but that's a limitation of the software. So when we first did that, we went from what could have been a 2-day process to enter all that data into. Town millwork is not small. We do not do the small job. Our minimum job now is approximately $1 to $1.5 million worth of millwork, which is a fairly large millwork package. We do everything from the office TI to stadiums to large-scale hotels to major churches and believe me, the millwork that goes into some of these churches is insane. So we do big millwork jobs. But we did that from about 2 days. We cut that process down to about 20 minutes.
So a 20-minute cost estimating for
to get the
how big
data
of a job?
into it. Yeah.
For how big?
That would be about $1 million job.
That used to take you 2 days.
And the markups, because we have all our markups and they're set to our specific tools that are matched the estimating software.
But hold on.
Our markups actually go really quick.
Let's take that back, because that's 2 days prior, even with the review. What was it before you even had review? What would you have done?
Oh God, you're asking me to go back in time here.
Yes.
Well, we would have to enter everything into our estimating software manually. So we'd have to type everything in. So we'd have to measure it. Okay, everybody get ready to drink. I'm going to say the A word here. So when I first started up here in the office, we were using Adobe, and we had to do a little measurement, take a little measurement of it, and then enter that into our estimating software. And this was 9.5 years ago now. So, it wasn't fun. And then we had a cup of coffee with PlanSwift for a while, and it was okay. But once we started using Review in late 2017, we haven't looked back.
Yeah, because PlanSwift and on-screen takeoff are some of the solutions that you can use for PDF takeoff quantities.
Right.
So you went before you were probably doing what? Was it 4 days a week to estimate?
It depends on the job. Those days we were doing smaller projects. So it would take us a week or so or more to do that. And you don't get the same level of detail that we get now in our estimates. Right. So I built a bunch of custom columns that match, and everything's predefined and preset, and so I can click on something and get that. So hang on,
So you're getting consistency now,
exactly,
accuracy, and this is all happening. So let's just break that down for everybody listening in. It took you a week to estimate a job, smaller job too. Then you got review. And you went to 2 days, and that was 2 days for.
Well, it all depends. So it depends on the size of the job. We'll take about 2 days to 3 days. That was just data entry, was what that 2 days were.
Okay. What's measurements?
Okay, so when we start making our measurements, that can take us 3 or 4 days now on a pretty big plan set.
Okay, so 3 to 4 days to measure. The other one was measuring of 5 days, not including the data entry. So is that measured? I'm trying to get a scope of what it used to take before Bluebeam. So
a typical estimate, if we were working on it constantly, would take us a week to 10 days. Now, if we're good, if we're on it constantly, which we never seem to be, we're 4 days.
Okay. So that's almost half.
And we have a better layout now. So we have better abilities now. So I'm going to quickly share my screen here quickly. So this is something that I would do typically, and it was in our standard colors. This is just a standard casework thing. So we have a series of built-in custom columns. I'm just going to expand this over here a little bit.
Just a little bit. Only a few custom columns here.
Just a couple. But that's the nature of millwork. Unfortunately, we just have a bunch of custom things that, it's the nature of architectural millwork is what it is. So I can tell you there it is. I sometimes fill these in. So in millwork, we have 2 grades, being premium and custom. This is a wall 2, what the inside looks like, what the outside looks like, whether it's got adjustable shelves, how many, what the pull is on this one. This should have been set to drilled. So this is a drilled pull, so I can set. This will have a door lock, and away you go. A little thing right here sets a door lock. So that's what we built. And then we do the same process I just did. We push 3 buttons and it's done at the end of it. And when you look at this, our project team can see, oh, this is a wall 2. This is 305 millimeters deep. Sorry, I'm Canadian. We work in metric. Okay, I'm sorry. So there you go. And even here, use this dark black line here. There's a fridge gable set up. So it's all away you go. It's just the way we set this up. I measure in M&Ms. Yes, Dave. Yep. Mostly we try and avoid the green ones at all costs, but yes, the yellow, brown, and red ones we always have, measure in the M&Ms. Unlike the Doritos that Jason uses, we use M&Ms.
Is it snack time already?
Almost.
I mean, this is amazing. So where do we go from here, right? We talked a little bit about the ROI. That's what I was trying to get at when you were trying to explain time and time before. I wanted to show people that are listening in, if you're trying to position this solution to be more effective at your job, what's the upper echelon folks always look at a dollar figure.
Going to once you learn it and you get into it and you really start understanding the true power of what Power Query can do, you're going to save days. What I use it for is not what most people use it for, which is in financial modeling and that kind of stuff. And most of if you go and watch the MVPs, almost all of them are accountants. So you're going to get a lot of financial data, but there's other stuff that works. So it all still works. So if you're doing that, you're going to take a repetitive task that you're going to do in Excel. You're going to do all your steps. You're going to do it once, record it as a macro, put it on a button, and you're done. It takes 10, 15 seconds to reload. The other thing is you can bring in data from other sources. I just brought one in from one other table in the same Excel sheet. You can bring it in from, and I do in other queries that I have, where I'm bringing in from our database and I'm merging in with our markup data. So I actually merge them all together. It's quite the list of queries, what it ends up looking like.
So with that, what are we doing next week that's different than from today? As this will be the capstone ending of this episode.
Okay, so next week, what I thought I'd do is some things when you export data from a PDF and a little bit of data cleaning. So we've probably all seen finish schedules or door schedules or whatever, like data that's in a PDF, but it's not clean. So we're going to clean it up a little bit. So you're going to see some things, and there's some things that happen when you export from a PDF that sometimes it doesn't bring it in nice. You're going to get offset columns. You can get some fun stuff. On door schedules and whatnot, you get what is called a double header or stacked data. So I'm going to show you guys how to clean that up. And even a trick I just learned recently to vertically stack tables that are side by side on a so sometimes you'll get where a door schedule, they'll put like floor 1 in this corner and floor 2 in this corner. There's a way to take that and do this with it. Okay, so and that one's pretty powerful. And we're going to get into the kind of some of the list dot commands, not more so on the user interface. So those of us that code a little bit, you're going to see some fun stuff. It's kind of wild.
Well, that
Well,
sounds very
perfect.
exciting. Thank you so much, Doug, for sharing your knowledge and expertise. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and asking questions. Next week, we will continue this and see the magic of data cleaning and all those other things. So, in the meantime, if you have questions about anything Doug covered today, put it in the LinkedIn chat so we can cover it next week. And that's about it. So, thanks, Doug. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, all of you. We will see you next week.
See you all then.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys. See
Doug.
you later.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.